When I think of the world as as divinely created yet inexplicable, a theistic perspective without subscribing to any specific religious or textual belief system, I feel more awe and reverence than when considering the idea that God handed down a rule book with seemingly mundane details like avoiding shellfish or wearing hats all the time.
What's with the shellfish?
I did say I was coming back to the shellfish. It's an easy,
Well,
nothing else.
you like shellfish.
I love shellfish.
Aha, knew
In fact, this is mostly about shellfish.
it.
We're avoiding shellfish, wearing hats all the time. We're all wearing hats. What would you say to someone who, like me, feels less connected to God when that relationship is mediated through what appears to be a historical and sociological document?
Well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with a historical sociological document.
There's nothing wrong with it.
The question is this. If you recognize a creator, which you really have to.
I do.
Yeah, there's no way around that. That was ridiculous. If there is a creator, then the primary question should be, why? Because a creator means a voluntary, intentional act. So if he didn't have to do it, but chose to do it, what was his reason? Or purpose? I'm not asking him to justify, but what are you hoping to accomplish?
Right.
What is it for? That's a very theological question. It very logically follows, if you are the creator, what you do this for? Secondly, it deals with a human need that also can't be ignored. The constant seeking of purpose. Why are we here? And that question has never stopped. It's never gone away. Even though we've not found the answer very often. But there was never a time in human history that we weren't asking that question. Now it turns out, partly because we're comfortable and affluent, it turns out that that question is actually critical. If we don't find an answer, we literally get sick. If I can't find an excuse for my existence, I cannot exist. And I experienced this years and years ago when I first started teaching. This woman comes over to me and says, I'm going to kill myself. She has a plan, she knows exactly how, and today is the day. Today I'm going to kill myself. Why? Because it's all meaningless. Everything is meaningless. There's no meaning to it. So I said, everything's meaningless? She says, yeah. Everything? She says, yeah. I said, well, then why do you have to kill yourself?
Great answer.
It's all meaningless. Sit and get old.
Hang around.
You'll die eventually. What's the hurry?
All right.
It's all meaningless.
Yeah.
No. If you believe you're not purposeful or you're not needed, you cannot. It's a human instinct. So, give me liberty or give me death? Not so wise. But give me a purpose or give me death seems to be an organic human response. If I'm useless, I'm out of here. So, the Torah answers these two questions. Number one, why did God do this? And number two, why am I here? What is my place in this whole picture? So without the Torah, yeah, I recognize God as the creator. It's beautiful, amazing. It doesn't answer these two questions. But when my grandfather says to me, I'm not saying this literally, but when you get the tradition that at some point in history, God gathered a group of people and said, here's why. You got to say, oh, of course. What is he going to not tell us? So somewhere, somehow, he has to communicate his purpose. So I say, oh yeah, at Mount Sinai, God, oh, okay.
Great.
What took him so long?
Yeah.
It was 2,000 years after creation. Why did he wait so long? Should have said it the first day.
Yeah.
But it seems God gave us 2,000 years just to humanize, like grow up.
Yeah, yeah.
And once we were mature and bar mitzvahed, then he gave us the Torah. So the Torah is not suggestions on a good life. It's how do you achieve the purpose for which he created the world?
Okay.
Which is more about him than about us.
Right. And I guess it would be the kind of combination of those two things where not only do you need the Torah, but hey, look, he gave it to us. That's why you embrace it. Because I would say my first thought while you were describing the first part of your answer was, I forget what it's called, but there's a logical fallacy, like it would be bad if X were the case, therefore let's negate X. So it would be bad if he never told us what to do, therefore, oh, of course, so he's going to tell us what to do. He'll give us a Torah, let's believe the Torah. By itself, that's not enough for me, but you're at least convinced, most observant Jews are convinced he actually did, and how could we have this story if there weren't?
Yeah, so whether he did or not is a historic event. It's not we think he did.
Mm-hmm.
Our grandparents were there. We came out of Egypt,
Yeah,
fought our way to Israel, still fighting.
yeah.
That's a historic.
But do you have, because I have faith in God, as I said, I'm theistic, whatever that means, but I don't have too much faith in history, for example. I know history is written by the victors or by whoever. So,
But there's no reason to doubt it because nobody disagrees with it. It's not like there are two theories
mm,
or two historians telling you two different stories.
okay. The absence of a contradictory story
Yeah. So,
is what.
but also it's an important thing. Preaching that you must believe in the Bible because the Bible says to believe in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so childish. Right?
Yeah.
You believe in the Bible because you know it had to have happened. So it just confirms.
Hmm.
So if God comes and says, let me tell you why I created the world, it's not the Bible I'm believing. It just confirms that, yes, God did have a purpose and he did communicate. So the pieces come together. And it's not a leap of faith. There's no leap of faith here.
Interesting. Was there ever a period? So how are we doing on time?
Great.
Okay, okay. Was there a period where you had any kind of serious doubt about any of this?
You know that there are always doubts because we are insecure people.
Mm-hmm.
We doubt ourselves. So I very often doubt my conviction. I don't doubt the information.
Okay.
But how seriously do I really take this? I got some doubts.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say, maybe there's no God. You can't keep reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
Or you're frustrating your life.
Yeah. That one's, get rid of that. But the whole religion, as opposed to just atheism, which for me, I agree with your very first thing, like just get rid of that. That's baloney. But the religion itself makes sense to you. It's maybe your
I
own.
don't even call it a religion.
Okay, right.
Religion involves some leap of faith.
Interesting.
There is no leap of faith.
You're just doing what God wants.
Because even believing in God is not a leap of faith.
Right. That I agree with.
Right. It's a necessary logical conclusion that you have to be blind not to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so if he's an intelligent creator, we're expecting aliens to come talk to us,
Yeah, right.
which,
Never know.
but if the Creator has a purpose for us, of course He's going to communicate it. And not to each individual so that we can argue about what He said
Mm,
and just create another war.
right.
He's going to gather us all, an entire nation, and say, you're all going to hear the same thing.
Hmm.
And don't walk away debating what you heard.
Interesting. On the topic of debate, this is not one of my pre-writtens, but you're giving me an idea here. I mean, isn't that coming from a not super learned perspective, isn't that kind of central to Judaism to discuss and to modify, not modify, but like say, what does this mean? Let's have a consensus here. All right, that's locked in. 5 years from now, oh, actually, what do we think about this? And it's kind of a communal thing that always cast in shadow or cast in doubt that whole it's set in stone, it's right in front of you thing to me. That it's kind of like, oh, well, this rabbi 400 years ago made a good point, so we do that. Does that contradict at all for you?
Not really, because most of the Torah remained oral.
Right.
The 613 commandments, you'll read the Torah from cover to cover. You'll never see them.
Right.
They're embedded. Once somebody points it out, oh, is that what it meant? So most of the details were transmitted orally from Mount Sinai to consecutive generations. Right? At some point, you're going to start forgetting.
Hmm.
So it was like preserving the memory. So the sages all got together and said, let's compare what we were taught.
Mm.
And if there's any discrepancies, let's work this out, because we can't have that.
Right.
So they kind of sorted out the those teachings that were not consistent. Like my rabbi said it was kosher. No, my rabbi said it wasn't. Oh, let's figure out how that happened. Was he talking about weekday, or was he talking about on Shabbos?
Mm.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay. So, and that's most of the debate among the sages. It wasn't like, what should we decide to do?
Hmm. Okay.
Then, as new questions arose, like for example, life support.
Mm.
Well, is that kosher or not? You can't look it up.
Hmm. Right.
It wasn't there. Heart transplant, kosher or not kosher? So here you have the brilliance of the sages, where they can actually find precedent
Mm.
for everything that has come up in 3,000 years.
Interesting. And that doesn't, to me, I'm still like bothered by how much human interpretation it is and not faith in God, but faith in others' interpretations and kind of just settling on like that's probably the best. And then also just to tack on, if I may, like, the of course he would tell us why he made everything. Like, why would God leave us without a reason? Why not come back and clear it up? It's been another 2000. Like, if he's of course giving us answers, then give us the answers. What about life support? What about iPhones? Well.
So I see it more as a great compliment. God gave us freedom of choice. Handle it.
Hmm.
I'm going to come every day, and you know, it's a great compliment. I gave you the guidelines. I gave you the book of directions.
Hmm.
Handle it. And if you don't know, well then work on it.
Have some agency.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you get it wrong, well, face the consequences. But
Yeah.
don't come running back every day. Oh, should I do this? Should I do this?
Yeah.
It's time to grow up.
I like that.
So it's a very mature, it's a maturing process. It's not a static religion.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there's a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it. These ideas, these messages, this approach to life, this approach to Torah, to meaning, and to morals is vital for the world today. And we need to get this message out to the entire world. It is universal, it's essential, it's indispensable. To support this effort, if you want to be a partner in this crime, check out the link and make a donation. It really helps a lot. And thank you in advance.